I'm Shane Seeley, and this is the CBC Morning Report. Some vaccinated Barbadians may have to look forward to a COVID-19 booster shot in the months ahead, especially those who are considered most at risk. In the U.S., the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, officially recommended a third dose of an mRNA vaccine for immunocompromised Americans. This will allow about 7 million Americans who didn't get an optimal immune response to their initial vaccine dose of Pfizer or Moderna to gain more protection from the vaccine. Now, given her take on the situation and on the possibility of booster shots for people, here is the emergency room physician, Dr. Hilary Moore. She tells the Morning Report the booster shot will be a much-needed defense for variants of COVID-19.
What type of booster shot are you getting? Are you going to get the exact same Pfizer, AstraZeneca, Moderna vaccine that you got previously? And that's usually the third dose of the same thing. Or are they going to change it or alter it that it really encompasses some of the newer strains that we're having right now? I know the biggest fear, and we need to fear, is the Delta variant right now. Remember, right on its heels is Lambda. But the Delta variant now is very much among everywhere. And what they're finding with the Delta variant is that it's not only affecting those with comorbid conditions. So, the thought was, oh yeah, I'm young, I ain't got no comorbid conditions, I'm fine. The Delta variant isn't doing that. It's actually not very selective. It's actually affecting everybody. So on the heels of the Delta variant, I can see where boosters are going to be even more important, especially if the immunity, as we discussed the last time, is waning, is actually decreasing. But the question is, what is the booster shot going to be? Is it going to be the same vaccine as a third dose, or is it going to be an altered vaccine that also encompasses some of these newer strains?
Meanwhile, Barbados has recorded close to 60 new cases of COVID-19 in the past 3 days, and we'll get into the specific numbers in our COVID-19 updates. Normally, when this happens, it's accompanied by a tightening of COVID measures and restrictions. Dr. Moore is, however, not in favor of another lockdown for Barbados to curb the spread of the virus.
We can't keep locking down forever. So I think what we really need to do is start going forward with a plan, which is, we have these cases, what went wrong? What is it that we need to change, improve, alter to make it better? Is it that they were in an environment, because they're obviously clusters, what was the environment like? Were they in a community or an area that was too closely knit? Was it there was a breakdown in mask wearing, hand washing, social distancing? We're not going to be able to figure out all of them, because the reality is, once you have community spread, you don't know all sources of where it came from. But what we can do is, with the information, we're not going to know all, but we can still get a lot of information, see where the breakdown occurs, see how we can improve or make changes that we can reduce the spread in these areas.
The number of people in isolation continues to rise. We'll get into that and other details in our COVID-19 updates. 21 new cases of COVID-19, 10 males and 11 females were identified from among 1,233 tests conducted by the West Dos Santos Public Health Laboratory. There are currently 120 people now in isolation. Since the start of the pandemic, Barbados has recorded 4,581 confirmed cases of the viral illness and 48 deaths. The Public Health Lab has conducted 241,539 tests. To date, 101,149 first doses of a vaccine have been administered under the National Vaccination Program for COVID-19. Meanwhile, 86,141 people, or 31.8% of the population, have received their second dose and are fully vaccinated. Let's go over to New Zealand now, where they're reporting their first case of COVID-19 in the community in 6 months after a person tested positive in their largest city of Auckland. This as there is a reported rise in the number of cases in neighboring Australia as well as in Thailand and Japan.
Additional security forces are deployed across Australia's biggest city, Sydney, to enforce a COVID-19 lockdown in its 8th week. The city registered its largest one-day increase of infections on Monday. Officials are telling people to prepare for the surge to continue. And in New Zealand, the announcement that an area where the country's first COVID-19 case in 6 months was found faces a snap lockdown for a week.
We have made decisions on the basis that it is better to start high and go down levels rather than start too low, not contain the virus, and see it move quickly. We've seen the dire consequences of taking too long to act in other countries, not least our neighbours.
Thailand just had its record number of single-day deaths on Tuesday with 239. This as the number of infections in the third and strongest wave inches toward 1 million. That's just since April and is fueled by the Delta variant. The nation is struggling to increase its vaccination rates that now stand at just more than 7% for those fully vaccinated. 25% of the 70 million population have received their first dose. Vaccine supply has been an issue from the start. The Thai government, playing catch-up, just ordered 10 million doses of Pfizer and 12 million of Sinovac. Japan is extending its state of emergency in Tokyo and 7 more regions until September 12th. There will also be widening restrictions in 7 more prefectures. The nation has seen a rise in new infections, setting a new daily record last week. But lockdown fatigue is prompting some to feel skeptical about the extended measures.
Honestly, there's no impact if the state of emergency is similar to the previous ones. Everyone is numb to it, and it's more like, not again. So its content needs to be different from before, or it will have little effect.
In Indonesia, one of the worst-hit nations in Asia, rights group Animal Defender is stepping in to help pet owners who have COVID-19. They take care of pets left alone when their owners are in hospital or are put into isolation.
We adjust the forms of assistance according to the needs of the pet owners, either to evacuate and take care of it completely, or we take care of it temporarily, like Gladys. We help to feed the animals, clean the cage, or bathe the dogs.
He says the biggest challenge of the work is when they get notified that a pet's owner has died.
There's a new hotspot for COVID cases in India. The country has recorded 33,000 new cases and 417 deaths, and that's on Monday alone. And half of those 2 sets of statistics are from the city of Kerala.
This major shopping street in Kerala's Allappuzha district is unusually deserted for this time of year. The state is in the middle of Onam, its biggest festival and shopping season. Bindu Krishna is weaving a marigold garland used for Onam decoration. After months of closure, vendors like her were finally allowed to set up shop. But celebrations have been muted and demand has been slow because of rising COVID-19 infections across the state.
The government should decide. Sometimes they allow us to open, sometimes they want us to close. What will poor people like us do? If they ask us to shut shop after Onam, we'll be in great trouble.
Once praised for controlling the pandemic, Kerala has now become the COVID-19 hotspot in India. The local government has eased restrictions for the festival, and state police have been deployed to enforce mask mandates and prevent crowding. There are rules requiring shoppers to either get a negative PCR test or show proof of vaccination. But shopkeepers say these are hard to implement and are affecting business during peak season.
Business has become really difficult. Since the pandemic started, we have been forced to shut our shops. Even when the markets open, the police comes in and we have to request them to let us run our shop so we can make some money.
With a high number of infections, experts say Kerala and India's northeast are still in second wave of the pandemic, which could lead to a surge in other states. Roughly 9% of all Indians have been vaccinated across the country.
Unless we are seeing above 60% of the population vaccinated and preferably up to 80% everywhere, we cannot really say that India is safe. Because if there are large pockets of unvaccinated population in different parts of India, the pandemic could actually flare up there, or new variants could arise there.
But despite a high vaccination rate, Kerala's positivity rate is above 15%, prompting the central government to give more than $30 million to strengthen its health services.
Hotspots in India and clusters here in Barbados being investigated. A lot to talk about on the COVID-19 front, but let's go over to Pearson now to hear what's happening on the Wednesday edition of Morning Barbados. Pearson.
Shane, thank you. This morning we'll meet a Methodist minister who is in service here in Barbados. I know you'll ask what's so special about that. What's special is that she's Haitian. And so she has been able to share with us, and will do so this morning, about her connection with her family who have been impacted by the recent earthquake in Haiti. We get to hear what's been going on the ground through her and her family's experience. We'd also today be talking a little bit more about that Global Network Summit on climate change and how sport can play into that as well. We're looking at the passion of Ashley Lashley and her foundation to be able to make effective change in that. And speaking of passion, we're down to key number 8. In our 12 keys to a strong finish, you must get your book ready, because that's what we're looking at today, how passion makes a difference. So all that and a whole lot more when you join me here for Morning Barbados. It's back to you, Shane.
Thank you, Pearson. Up next, we give you one of the highlights from the last town hall meeting at the Dighton Griffith Secondary School. A Barbadian woman has received huge regional support after her contribution during the latest town hall meeting on vaccines at the Dighton Griffith Secondary School. Or Shane Jones has more on this story.
It was close to 9 p.m. and after more than 3 hours of contributions and questions, often resulting in heated debate, many thought that government's third town hall on COVID-19 vaccines was finally coming to a quiet close. But boy, were they mistaken. Up stepped Mary Clark. In the final comment from the audience for the night, she forcefully presented her pro-vaccine argument.
I'm saying to you Barbadians, wake up. Wake up. Yes, your comments are valid. The vaccine is not mandatory, but don't be selfish either. Be responsible citizens. Be responsible. Care for each other. Because I tell them when they're vaccinated, don't come and talk to me.
Ms. Clark's confrontational style did not go down well with some there who questioned the need for the vaccine, which resulted in a few people walking out. But this did not seem to bother her.
That is why I'm so peeved. Sit down, Winston. That is why I'm so peeved. Walk out, because the truth hurts.
However, Ms. Clark's full presentation has been making the rounds on social media, and there has been massive support for her comments from across the region. Check out this tweet from someone in Trinidad. She sounds like my mom. We need to borrow her for TNT. This one from Grenada reads, she single-handedly explained all what needed to be said in a matter of minutes, while our politicians struggle day in and out to convey the same to the local man. This person asks if he can be a Bajan in his tweet. And Heidi from St. Vincent says she and her friends have been discussing our town hall meetings, going on to congratulate Mary and Barbados. The next town hall meeting on vaccines will be tomorrow evening at 5 p.m. at Combermere. Shane Jones, CBC News.
Despite the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, at least 2 institutions are reporting there's a high demand from Barbadians looking to pursue studies. One of them is the Barbados Institute of Management and Productivity, better known as BIMAP. Following an MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding, signing with the Samuel Jackman Prescott Institute of Technology yesterday, BIMAP's Executive Director, Dr. Sonia Greenidge Franklin, said they have shifted all of their 60-plus courses online given the COVID-19 environment. She identified animation, management, and others as popular choices.
Persons are interested in management courses, supervisory management. They're interested in information technology courses. So you see we've introduced new things like cybersecurity, because if everything is online, you need to be aware of what is going on online. We've also had a number of new professional development courses for persons who are moving up from lower management to higher management positions, for persons who are now going into management, and for senior people who want to improve themselves.
And in response to the numbers, the SJPI principal, Ian Drake, says they've developed a hybrid delivery system for students.
We have been using a hybrid approach. What we have realized is that we have been working very close with the COVID monitoring unit. We were able to do the theory of most programs online, but we understand, and as ILO has said, technical vocational education is practical. And if we do the face-to-face, we also have to do the laboratory work and practical as such, because I'm sure no one goes to someone who said that I've been watching YouTube for 20 years to fix my car. You have to get your hands on, and therefore what we have been able to do is, when the country has been allowing for the lifting of the lockdown and the curfew, bringing our students back and still giving the practical experience.
The lone asphalt producer onshore, Asphalt Processors Incorporated, is looking to encourage government to use its new polymer-modified asphalt. While it's new to Barbados, it has been in use for over 30 years in other parts of the world. The managing director, Errol Lynch, believes it has several properties that would be useful on local roads to make them stand up a bit longer.
The performance grade that we are making is actually new to the Caribbean. The other product that we make is 60-70 asphalt, which is tested on a penetration basis. There's some deficiencies in that particular product over the years. So that's why the Federal Highways of the United States would have created a super paved asphalt, which would allow them to look at more efficiently the rutting, these cracks and stuff in the road, and make the road more elastic to take the heavy loads.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Transport, Works and Water Resources, Ian Goodin-Edgell, says government will collaborate with the API. He also says he's proud of the company, which can now be revered as a global industry leader.
Being the only plant in the Caribbean with this capacity, the exporting potential for Barbados through API's product is significant, given the PMA product is presently only internationally otherwise available in the United States, Europe, and the Caribbean. And indeed, that must be a major accomplishment for a Barbados-based company.
In news further afield now, we hear that Haiti has been spared the predicted mudslide from the passing of a tropical storm. Now rescue workers get back to the rubble and destruction created by this weekend's powerful earthquake.
Although the impact of the tropical storm, which has now largely passed over the country, could have been worse, it seems at the moment, than transpired in the end. We've been speaking to people on the ground, including our colleagues over in Lacaille, which is one of the major cities that was hit by this earthquake. And in the end, it seems that there wasn't, as far as we know so far, too much flooding or landslides, which was the big worry about this. But we still have, as you mentioned, a lot of people sleeping out in the open, even because they're worried about what might happen in terms of aftershocks, or because their houses were damaged and destroyed. We've also got a lot of people in hospitals, about 6,000 people injured, apart from the more than 1,400 people that died in the earthquake. So the relief efforts ongoing. I just want to tell you as well, we're actually at the airport now in Port-au-Prince, and we're here because this is basically the hub of everything that's trying to get to that region at the moment. Basically the main road out of Port-au-Prince to get to that area in the southwest of the country. There's two gangs battling over it close to Port-au-Prince, and that's meant that it's really hard for aid to get down that road, so instead it's being flown in. We've seen the US Coast Guard. We just saw actually quite a big plane coming from the Air Force of Chile. So different countries are bringing their aid into the airport, and then it's been taken out via the airport in choppers, helicopters, or in planes to try and get to that region.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. I mean, how much of that aid is reaching people? It's good to see that it's finally making its way in, but, I mean, how many days have passed since that earthquake? It must be desperately needed.
Yes, definitely. Not obviously just food, sanitary materials, water. That's what the US aid rescue team, search and rescue team member that I just spoke to just a few minutes ago said. And he said that that's not just in the cities, obviously, that's also in the villages around where this earthquake took place. Just seeing now just another plane that's coming into land. It's just been constant back and forth. So they're trying to get to those villages and those towns around. And as you say, it's just difficult because it's more of a drip via helicopter and plane rather than a steady traffic as it would be by road. Even the United Nations spokesman came out and said we're actually trying to negotiate with those two gangs so that they let more vehicles and more traffic pass on that road. They managed to get a convoy of 6 cars past, but I understand it's been pretty difficult for them too. So that's going to remain the challenge all through this week in that part of the country as people continue to be in the hospitals, continue to lack water and continue to lack food.
The Taliban is promising to protect women's rights and press freedom, and all of this was revealed in the group's first news conference yesterday following its stunning takeover of Afghanistan. This as the group's co-founder returned to the country.
It's been keen to show a new face to the world, pledging inclusion and education for women and religious tolerance. The group insists it will offer amnesty to anyone who worked with the government or foreign forces. But reports of their rule in cities captured during their advance have raised fears about those promises.
We have pardoned anyone, all those who had fought against us. We don't want a repeat of war. We want to do away with the factors of conflict. So the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan does not have any conflict with anybody. We want the fighting to end. The Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan is committed to the rights of women within the framework of Sharia. Our women have the same rights. They can work in different sectors on the basis of our rules and regulations, in education and health and other areas. They are going to be working shoulder to shoulder with us. We want to assure the international community there will be no discrimination against women, but of course within our religious framework.
Meanwhile, thousands of Afghans have entered Pakistan through the Spin-Boldak-Chaman border crossing in Afghanistan's southeast region after the Afghans' Taliban takeover of the country earlier this week, including patients seeking medical attention and also freed Afghan Taliban prisoners.
The main border crossing between Afghanistan and Pakistan at Torkham is now open for business. Trucks have been traveling in both directions. There were apprehensions that as the Taliban advance across the country, tens of thousands of refugees will pour across this border into Pakistan. But the ground reality is very different. People living close to the Pakistani border, all the way from Helmand province to Nuristan up in the north, are mostly Pushtun tribes. They of course welcome the Taliban. they have seen the Taliban rule in the past. And what we saw at this border crossing, that instead of tens of thousands of Afghans coming across the border, we saw hundreds of Afghans eager to cross that border and go back to their country. Most of the people that we spoke to over here are elated and jubilant with the fact that the Taliban are back in power. They, on the other hand, do not agree with the international community, and they see a ray of hope for a lasting Afghan settlement.
We welcome the Taliban back in Afghanistan, as they are the true heroes of the country, and none other than them can bring a lasting peace to this war-torn country destroyed by many.
Afghanistan is in ruins from the last 40 years. Firstly, we were made homeless by Russians and then the Americans, but thank God, finally we've got freedom from their invasions. We trust the Taliban and hope they will bring peace, stability and progress to this country.
But while the situation on the borders was now returning back to normal, there were frantic diplomatic efforts to try to put the Afghan leaders on the same table with the Taliban. The former Foreign Minister of Afghanistan, Salahuddin Rabbani, is in Pakistan, along with Yunus Qanuni, the head of the Afghan parliament, and also Ustad Mohaqiq is amongst that group. He represents the minority Hazara community. What Pakistan has been telling the Afghan Taliban is that there should be an inclusive government, which should include.
Let's go to sports now, where the International Cricket Council has revealed the full draw for the upcoming Men's T20 World Cup, which will be played between October and November. The Board of Control for Cricket in India has the hosting rights for the 2021 T20 World Cup. However, the mega event will be held in the United Arab Emirates and Oman due to the COVID-19 scare in India. Amory Burke reports on how the World Cup is shaping up for the West Indies.
The two-time champions, West Indies, are again favorites to stamp their
Fort, who's the first female team manager in the history of the Caribbean Premier League, was appointed recently to the Barbados setup. Holders, who is currently with the West Indies team, and their test series against Pakistan is ongoing in Jamaica. He says the veteran sports administrator is no stranger, so he therefore expects her to do a good job.
Really pleased to have Roxanne on board. Roxanne has obviously been a part of the group for a number of years. This year, being in the managerial capacity. And last year as well, she did that role. So the guys are familiar with her. The guys are very, very happy with her. She's like a mother figure in the group. And she treats us all, you know, with equal respect and love and professionalism. So very, very happy to have Roxanne on board as manager. And I'm sure she'll continue to do a very, really nice job for us in the Barbados Royals.
The CPL begins August the 26th and runs till September 15th in St. Kitts and Nevis. Time now for a look at the weather. It's 27.4 degrees Celsius on the outside, but it's feeling a whole lot warmer already. The apparent temperature up to 33 degrees Celsius. It's partly cloudy. The relative humidity stands at 79%. The barometric pressure, 1014.1 millibars, is where it stands, and those winds have picked up, blowing just above the 32 km/h mark. We'll get a high tide this afternoon at 29 minutes to 2. The low tide will be at 12 minutes after 6 in the evening. Those seas are moderate in open water. Swells are between 1.5 and 2 meters right now, and they will be increasing. It will be partly sunny with a few brief isolated light showers here in Barbados today. And tonight it will be fair at first, but it will become partly cloudy to cloudy with a few brief isolated light showers. And over the Lesser Antilles, it will be fair to partly cloudy with a few brief scattered light showers. And tonight, partly cloudy to occasionally cloudy conditions will prevail there with some scattered light to moderate showers. And here's a quick look at the international forecast. And that's it for this edition of the CBC Morning Report. I'm Shane Seeley. Morning Barbados starts now.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome today to Morning Barbados. It is Wednesday, the 18th of August, 2021. I'm Pearson Bowen, welcoming you everywhere on which you're watching us. Grateful for your company. Today, we'll ask the question, what's an effective Christian? Do you have any idea? Well, there's a man who has some idea, and so he's written a book about it, and we'll be turning those pages with him in just a little while. Also this morning, we'll be looking at fibroids and some of the surgical treatment options for you who have been suffering with fibroids. And so our obstetrician will join us to talk about that and a whole lot more. But let's get started by celebrating some of the very best of our teaching fraternity as we continue celebrating those who are recently recipients of the National Distinguished Teachers Awards. And so this morning joining us is Jamel Gale, who is a nursery teacher at the St. Giles Nursery School, and Adrian Stout, who teaches with the Samuel Jackman Prescott Institute of Technology. Good morning, both of you. Hi, good morning. And so far we're joined by Jamel. Good morning to you, Jamel. How are you doing?
Good morning, Pearson. Good morning, Barbados. I am well, thank you. And how are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking. Congratulations, first of all, on the award. It must mean something really special to you.
Thank you so much. Yes, it is an honor to be recognized for the hard work and to be among excellent teachers that we have.
Now, you teach nursery. Now, that's the developmental stage at which you're involved in education. Why nursery?
I think anything, but it certainly has been a very rewarding experience. I must admit that I had a misconception about nursery. I thought, it was kind of, for a better term, less work than the primary school that I would have come from. But then I realized it really is a very critical stage. It's a stage where the foundation is laid.
What do you think we don't understand? Sorry about that. What do you think we don't understand about nursery that we get wrong? We assume it's like a daycare center. A lot of people tend to think that, but it's more than that.
Oh, definitely. Nursery is often discounted, and you are amazed, persons are amazed to realize the information that these 3- and 4-year-olds can assimilate and really take in, and articulate.
So let's talk about some of those developmental things that happen at nursery, because oftentimes you'll receive a child who might be having all sorts of other challenges, whether it's mobility, just being able to understand certain concepts, and then you're able to mold and make a citizen out of that child. What are some of the challenges that you meet with children day in, day out?
Okay, well, mainly we start them with where they are. And I think the biggest challenge, if anything, two would be the misconceptions that parents may have. They kind of want to rush the process and don't necessarily want to take the steps. So we focus on building the social and emotional skills, helping them to be able to cope with their feelings and interact with others. And this is the start of a life process, really. We also focus on developing the gross muscles and the fine muscles. So the play, being able to make the players will help with their handwriting as they go on, able to function effectively as they go on in life as well.
And then one day you got the news that some parents and some others have nominated you for the Outstanding Teachers Awards. How was that when you got that news?
Oh, it was certainly a shock. You know, doing what you love is definitely a reward in itself. But then obviously being recognized for it is a bonus. So I feel blessed and honored.
Wow. But later on, to be recognized by your peers for the great work you've been doing and to be given this Blue Ribbon Award, talk to me about when you discovered that you were the recipient. Actually, I mean, nomination is one thing, but to actually receive the award must be something else. When did you find out about that?
I found out a couple of when I got the email. To be nominated was the shock part, but then I saw the email, and to be honest, it only started settling when I got all the congratulatory calls and messages. Wow, I did win this award.
Wow. Congratulations, Adrian. Now I'm going to be joined by Adrian Stout, who is another one of those outstanding teachers. Adrian, good morning to you.
Yes, good morning, sir.
I want to bask in the glory with you as well. Good morning to you too, sir. So tell me a little bit about having now received this award, what it means to you as a tutor at the Samuel Jackman Prescott of Technology, Institute of Technology.
Well, I was overwhelmed. I never expected an award. I just go to work and do what I supposed to do. But being nominated, I had no idea that I was a nominee.
Do you have any idea how come?
Well, how come? Well, if you walk around the SJPI campus, persons that know me or persons who I have taught will always say, Mr. Stout is the best teacher here. You can't touch him.
Mr. Stout is the best teacher here. You can't touch him. So what is it that you teach?
I teach nautical science, a course called Maritime Operations.
Wow. And I wonder why they would say about you that you are the best teacher here. What is it? Are you one of those easygoing teachers who lets them get away with every little thing? Is that the reason why they say you're the best teacher here?
I think I'm the most harsh teacher. But the first thing I do with a student or students is I try to make them think positively about themselves. And I kind of help them to build their self-esteem. And tell them, you know what, you can learn. Because you know there's a saying in society that only the dumb go to technical institutions. So what I show to the students is that no, they can succeed. And I show them the way and how they can succeed.
And it's interesting because, you know, there it is, you're working more so in developing the person than necessarily focusing on the particular skill set you're supposed to be teaching. I think that's so interesting. I've been fortunate, I think, through my secondary school experience, I've had one of the teachers, so similar to you, who spent time teaching us to be better people while also teaching us history and English. And I thought that the lessons that we walked away with about life were far more lasting necessarily than the history and English that I learned. I mean, I remember them still, but still, that lesson about life was so impactful. And so for you, Jamel, are you also given the opportunity to be told day in, day out, "Man, we love you, you're the best"? Do you hear those kinds of comments from your little ones as well?
Oh, yes, I do. And it is so heartwarming, especially when they're on their way to school, they pick the little flowers, and it's truly a blessing. It really makes my day.
Yeah, I can imagine how little ones really affect the heart. What about you, Adrian? What does teaching give to you? as a consequence of adopting this as your chosen career?
Well, honestly, it was not my chosen career. I got into it by accident. But what it means to me is where I can take a young person who has no path forward and guide him along a certain path so that he could develop in his own skill.
So had it not been teaching, what would it have been for you?
Well, I'm a mariner. I wanted to be a marine pilot, but I didn't got that job. So the next best job was, I'm not doing it physically, but I can do it theoretically, so I applied to the Polytechnic.
You know, a little later on, we're going to be talking about passion and how passion drives you to become. And certainly your passion for maritime has driven you now to becoming a teacher of maritime as well, maritime science. And what about you, Jamel? Had it not been what you're doing now, what would it have been?
Well, I always said I wanted to be a journalist, a teacher. I was privileged actually, to spend some time in the journalistic field and the journalism field. And now I am following my passion as a teacher.
Wow. Look at passion, huh? Passion is such an important thing as part of one's life and one's being. So now you're recognized as outstanding, distinguished teachers on the island. What kinds of response have you got now that the news has broken? Well, what did people, start with you, Jamel, what did people say to you when the information just splashed across our local press?
Well, mostly persons, well, everyone said, well deserved, it is long in coming. And it was also a very years ago, and the students too, they even wrote little notes and told me about how it would have impacted their lives as students, and the parents also sent messages as well. And it's
just been phenomenal. What about you, Adrian?
Yes.
You're the lone male face in that whole picture of people who are nationally distinguished teachers. So what about you? What was the reaction?
Well, again, the action was like, Janelle, everybody congratulate me, and some people say to me, Mr. Stockman, you deserve it. You work hard. And even like some parents call me and say, my son, the only person you talk about is Mr. Stout, Mr. Stout, Mr. Stout. So you really deserve the award.
Congratulations, both of you. Adrian Stout, who teaches maritime science at the Samuel Jackman Prescott Institute of Technology. Got to get that word flowing nicely. And also to you, Jamel Gale, who is one of the teachers at the St. John's Nursery School. Thank you, both of you, and congratulations on your awards.
You're
and
welcome.
something tells me your futures look really, really bright, and we're happy to share the spotlight with you. Thank you.
Thank you, and have a great day.
You do too. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Morning Barbados will continue right after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Change is everyone's responsibility, and everyone needs to be involved. The sports community can play a major role in bringing awareness to the issue of climate change. So, let's hop to it.
Little Maria Marshall there. Let's hop to it. And hopping to it this morning, we're happy to be joined by Ashley Lashley, who is the UNICEF Youth Advocate, but most of all, she's the founder of the Hey Campaign and the Youth Global Network. Good morning to you, Ashley.
Good morning, Pearson. Good morning, Barbados. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm super excited for today.
Yeah, me too. But you know, I want to start with the celebration of the fact that today marks 4 years that you've actually started the Global Youth Network Summit. Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much. The first year I started it, I was actually 16 years old, and it was focused on non-communicable diseases. And I remember staging that activity at the United Nations House with the United Nations ambassador, the representative of UNICEF, amongst other ambassadors participated. And then subsequently to that, each and every year, we're having it on a different social issue. So the second year, it was on the Sustainable Development Goals. And last year, it was focused on climate change and health. And then this year, we're focusing it on sports for climate action.
You know, what keeps you so passionate about what you do to sustain it for as long as you've been able to sustain it?
Well, to be honest, I think what keeps me going is the community in which I was raised up in. I'm doing this for the persons within my community because I grew up in a marginalized and stigmatized communities, and oftentimes persons deem that persons who live in these communities are often not going to be successful in their professions. And every day I see different young persons in my community who are passionate about stuff that they're doing. And to be honest, we just want to make a change within our communities and within the world. So that's what really keeps me going on a daily basis.
Trust me, I get you, girl. I'm from a tiny little space called Hope Road in St. Lucie. And you know what people say about St. Lucie, right? Behind God's back. They have this accent and the like. So I am determined to prove them wrong. So I'm very much like you know, that we just want to show that good can come from where we started. Doesn't matter where we start, we can finish strong. That's the whole point. And so here it is now. We are at the stage where today, Wednesday, the 18th of August, you're going to be hosting this global summit. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yes. So before we begin, oftentimes we hear that sports is that one unifier that brings people from all different backgrounds and their diversities together. So the summit would take place today at 9 a.m. via Zoom. The link can be found on our Instagram page, which is @WeAreHey in our bio, and it's also being live streamed on the Hey Campaign's Facebook page and UNICEF Eastern Caribbean Facebook page. But what really propelled us to start this Global Youth Network Summit on Sports for Climate Action was last year when we launched the Hey Campaign. Two of our special envoys, Lucy Mayer, who is a Special Olympics athlete, Alex, who you probably know, Pearson, they both came together, and they're both swimmers, so they both came together last year to create a joint call, and they both said that athletes can be the perfect role models and climate ambassadors. However, we all need to walk the talk, run it, jump it, and swim it. So they created this joint call, calling all athletes under the age of 30 to share their pledge and adopt lifestyles that are both healthy and environmentally friendly, and support the sports community in leading advocacy roles and advocacy efforts towards the acceleration of climate action. So because of the support from that joint call together from a person who is differently able and others, that really propelled us to focus our summit this year on sports for climate action. And more importantly, what we're trying to do within Hey is that as young persons, we want to build an inclusive environment, showing that sports is the way to promote inclusive action by involving persons from all different abilities, backgrounds, and ethnicities. So we time our activity and the date of this summit very timely, Pearson, because the event is actually taking place immediately after the Olympics and before the Paralympics. So we really decided to have it in between both events to really amplify the Hey Campaign's effort to support sports for climate action. And with the support of the Venezuelan embassy, we're also going to be having Spanish interpretation because it's a global campaign, so we'll be having persons tuning in from all across the world to this most important activity.
Break it down for me. What time does it start, and what are some of the key areas that you'll be looking at in this global summit?
The summit starts at 9 a.m. and it finishes at 2 p.m. And we will be having 5 thematic sessions. And the opening session actually is an intergenerational dialogue, which is very important. And that intergenerational dialogue is taking place between our Hey moderators, for the summit, and Mr. Steve Stout, the immediate past president of the Barbados Olympic Association. And then after we have had that intergenerational dialogue with him, we would move directly into session 1. And session 1 focuses on how does climate change affect sports and people's health. And this session, we will be having representatives from World Athletics, the UK Sports Medicine, Medic, and the National Health Service in England. So they will be engaging in a dialogue in that first session. Our second session is entitled The Sustainability of Sports in a Changing Global Environment, and will focus on the United Nations framework 5 principles on sports for climate actions. And it would include a panel from World Sailing, UNFCCC, the Bohemian Football Club, Texas University, and others. Session 3 is then focused on creating and enabling sporting environment for young persons living with disabilities. And we will be joined by the president of the Barbados Council for the Disabled, UNICEF, SailGP, and Special Olympics. The fourth session is entitled, Empowering Youth Through Sports. And we will have the Venezuelan ambassador to Barbados participating, Tayer Bubulia. I'm a youth activist from Kenya, and Planet Super League. So they will be engaged in that dialogue, looking at different strategies that we can empower youth through sports. And session 5 is my favorite, and this will focus on sustainable sporting fashion. And we will be joined by three global designers who have been featured in major global magazines, who are creating and promoting sustainable sporting brands.
How are you able? Yeah, it's a packed day with a lot of experts as well. How are you able to get all of them to agree to be a part of this global summit?
Well, to be honest, this is the power in COVID. COVID has taught us to amplify our skills as it relates to networking. So my team and I have been constantly reaching out to persons who fit the background for the team. And with the support of our partners, we were able to engage them and pique their interest in conversating with us as young persons. So that's why the intergenerational dialogue is so important for us as young persons to engage with experts so that we can get the knowledge to help amplify our advocacies. So without the support of our Hey ambassadors and our partners, this event wouldn't have been possible.
Right, so because your Hey ambassadors are all over the world, and so they're networking also within their respective communities to bring this expertise to the table for this global summit today, starting at 9. And we can access this by online. How can we access this information?
Well, the summit is being live streamed on the Hey Campaign's Facebook page at 9 a.m. And it's also being live streamed on UNICEF Eastern Caribbean Facebook page. But if persons want to register and join us on the Zoom platform, they can find that link on our Instagram page within our bio. And our Instagram page is @WeAreHey.
And it's right there on your screen, folks. @WeAreHey on Instagram. We are Hey on Instagram. So anyone of any age, any nationality be a part of this global summit today?
Yeah, anyone from any part of planet Earth can join this Youth Network Summit today. And to be honest, climate change is a global problem that requires the whole society to collaborate and coordinate to find solutions. And that is why it's so important, not only for climate, for a multi-sectorial approach to be taken as it relates to using the sporting community to really advance societal issues and bring more awareness to different societal issues within our communities, within our countries, and around the world.
What's built into the approach so you can monitor and track responses and outcomes?
Right, so with what we're doing, within the summit this year is that we've also partnered with You Report Barbados. So we're also doing a poll that is focused on sports for climate action to see if persons know that climate change is actually affecting the sporting community. And then within the launch as well, within the starting process of the summit this year, we're having a hashtag called hashtag goals for climate action, where on social media we will be monitoring different persons from across the world telling us what are their goals for climate action or how are they achieving climate action goals. So, and then from that, what we're also doing from the outcomes of the summit, we would be creating a recommendations report in which we would then submit to the governments within our countries, our stakeholders, our partners, and we're also going to have that pre-recommendation sent to COP26 as well, which
This
is the
is so
conference of parties, which will be taking place in November.
Yes, it's so all-encompassing and it's so thoroughly thought through by you young people. I'm truly blown away by the detail to which you've gone to make sure that this is a very significant summit today, looking at sport for climate action. And when we think about it, we don't often understand the connection between sport and climate and how climate impacts sport. But we would have seen it perhaps when we see rising sea temperatures, we see rising sea levels, we see people having difficulty with at different altitudes with breathing as a consequence of the infusion of a lot of other gases being emitted. So there are lots of things that affect one's health and one's ability therefore to engage in sport. What's the next summit? When you complete today, your summit on sport for climate action, what's the next one?
Well, we haven't begun to talk about that as yet, but I know for sure for our 5th year, we'll have a new topic because every year we're focusing the summit on a different topic. But the sustainable event is that next year, Hey campaign and our structure when we're planning it out is that we'll continue the Sports for Climate Action movement by having multiple activities under Sports for Climate Action, not only as it relates to the summit component.
I'm well imagining that there's some young people watching today who feel your passion and who want to be a part of this. They want to associate themselves with it. How can they join the Hey campaign?
Well, we normally send out our registration for ambassadors at the ending of every year. So our cohort for 2021 has ended, but they can register. They can stay tuned to our social media pages, and we would be having our Hey ambassadors for 2021. That process would be decided upon in December to January of 21 to 2022. So they can get started within our Hey campaign by staying active onto our channels and looking out for our 2022 registration for our next set of Hey ambassadors in December and January of next year.
And all you're asking for are some young people with passion to make a big difference, passion to make a difference not just to themselves but to their communities as well and to the global spaces in which we all live and operate as well. So the summit starts at 9 this morning and it's online, and you can go to @Hey on Instagram, see it there, but it's on your Facebook page, and that Facebook page is called?
The Hey campaign.
So simple, the Hey campaign. Ashley, thank you so much for joining us this morning to tell us. I can't wait to hear the outcomes, as I know we'll continue our conversations with your team about the different things that you're doing as well. So thank you so much. All the success is yours, really, for this campaign today. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Pearson, and thank you, Mornin Barbados. And Pearson, you'll actually be hearing the outcomes on Sunday. We have our global Hey Parliament, where it would also be focused on sports, but community development at large.
Great. Can't wait to hear those outcomes. Thank you so much, Ashley Lashley. Ashley Lashley, our UNICEF representative youth advocate, but most of all, she's the founder of the Hey campaign. We're coming back after this with more on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We're at the top of the hour. Time for us to now take another look at the news. For that, we turn to Shane Seeley. Shane.
Thank you, Pearson. Emergency room physician Dr. Hilary Moore has been telling the Morning Report that COVID-19 booster shots may be required to better protect vaccinated Barbadians against the Delta variant. She believes those who are considered most vulnerable would have to receive what would be a third dose of the vaccine. That's what's happening in the U.S., where the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, officially recommended that third dose of a mRNA vaccine for immunocompromised Americans. But Dr. Moore has some questions about any booster that is being considered.
What type of booster shot are you getting? Are you going to get the exact same Pfizer, AstraZeneca, Moderna vaccine that you got previously? And that's usually the third dose of the same thing. Or are they going to change it or alter it that it really encompasses some of the newer strains that we're having right now? I know the biggest fear, and we need to fear, is the Delta variant right now. Remember, right on its heels is Lambda. But the Delta variant now is very much among everywhere. And what they're finding with the Delta variant is that it's not only affecting those with comorbid conditions. So, you know, the thought was, oh yeah, I'm young, I ain't got no comorbid conditions, I'm fine. The Delta variant isn't doing that. It's actually not very selective. It's actually affecting everybody. So on the heels of the Delta variant, I can see where boosters are going to be even more important, especially if the immunity, as we discussed the last time, is waning, it's actually decreasing. But the question is, what is the booster shot going to be? Is it going to be the same vaccine as a third dose, or is it going to be an altered vaccine that also encompasses some of these newer strains?
Meanwhile, there are concerns about a fresh tightening of COVID-19 measures here in Barbados, as the country recorded close to 60 new cases of the virus over the past 3 days. Dr. Moore is, however, not in favor of another lockdown here to curb the spread of the virus.
We can't keep locking down forever. So I think what we really need to do is start going forward with a plan, which is, we have these cases, what went wrong? What is it that we need to change, improve, you know, alter to make it better? Is it that they were in an environment, because they're obviously clusters, you know, what was the environment like? Were they in a community or an area that was too closely knit? Was it there was a breakdown in mask wearing, hand washing, social distancing? You know, we're not going to be able to figure out all of them, because the reality is, once you have community spread, you don't know all sources of where it came from. But what we can do is, with the information, we're not going to know all, but we can still get a lot of information, see where the breakdown occurs, see how we can improve or make changes that we can reduce the spread in these areas.
Looking at the latest COVID-19 statistics now, 21 new cases, 10 males and 11 females were identified from the 1,233 tests conducted by the Best Dos Santos Public Health Laboratory on Monday. There are currently 120 people in isolation. Since the start of the pandemic, Barbados has recorded 4,581 confirmed cases of the virus and 48 deaths. The Public Health Lab has conducted 241,539 tests. To date, 101,149 first doses have been administered, and this is the vaccine in the National Vaccination Program for COVID-19. Meanwhile, 86,141 people, or 31.8% of the population, have received their second dose and are fully vaccinated. There is an air of anticipation for what's to come at today's town hall meeting on vaccines and testing being held at the Common School. It will be live right here on TV8 from 5 in the afternoon. This after what was some heated debate during the last town hall, where one vaccine supporter's contribution received huge support for Barbadians and people in other parts of the region. Shane Jones has more.
It was close to 9 p.m. and after more than 3 hours of contributions and questions, often resulting in heated debate, many thought that government's third town hall on COVID-19 vaccines was finally coming to a quiet close. But boy, were they mistaken. Up stepped Mary Clark. In the final comment from the audience for the night, she forcefully presented her pro-vaccine argument.
I'm saying to you, Barbadians, wake up. Wake up. Yes, your comments are valid. The vaccine is not mandatory, but don't be selfish either. Be responsible citizens. Be responsible. Care for each other. Because I tell them when they're vaccinated, don't come and talk to me.
Ms. Clark's confrontational style did not go down well with some there who questioned the need for the vaccine, which resulted in a few people walking out. But this did not seem to bother her.
That is why I'm so peeved. Sit down, Winston. That is why I'm so peeved. Walk out, because the truth hurts.
However, Ms. Clark's full presentation has been making the rounds on social media, and there has been massive support for her comments from across the region. Check out this tweet from someone in Trinidad. She sounds like my mom. We need to borrow her for TNT. This one from Grenada reads, she single-handedly explained all what needed to be said in a matter of minutes, while our politicians struggle day in and out to convey the same to the local man. This person asks if he can be a Bajan in his tweet. And Heidi from St. Vincent says she and her friends have been discussing our town hall meetings, going on to congratulate Mary and Barbados. The next town hall meeting on vaccines will be tomorrow evening at 5 p.m. at Combermere. Shane Jones, CBC News.
And finally, some news out of Haiti. Close to 2,000 people are now known to have died in Haiti's powerful earthquake on Saturday, an increase of more than 500 on what was the previous figure. Nearly 10,000 people have been injured, and many are still missing after the 7.2 magnitude quake. Rescue work has been hampered by those heavy rains brought by Tropical Storm Grace. The United Nations says about 500,000 children now have limited or no access to shelter, safe water, and food. That's our 7 a.m. headline news. I'm Shane Seeley. Back to you, Pearson.
Shane, thank you. Just to remind all of you watching as well, for those of you who cannot get to your TV screens today, that you can listen to today's town hall meeting on vaccines and testing on Q100.7 FM. It's 8 minutes after 7 o'clock. We are taking a break here. When we're back, we have a question for you to win in our Crumbs question of the day.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We're 9.5 minutes after 7 o'clock. Time for you to win now with Crumbs Bakery in on today's Crumbs question of the day. Call me now on 228-5562 or 228-5563 to correctly answer today's Crumbs question of the day. And what is today's Crumbs question of the day, you ask? Well, here comes that crumbs question of the day. It is, what is Crispy's IG handle? IG standing for Instagram. What is Crispy's Instagram handle? Do you know it? And if you do know it, then give me a call on 228-5562 or 228-5563 and let's talk. Let's see if you can become a winner today. So, what is Crispy's Instagram handle? Do you know what that is? 228-5562 or 228-5563. And when you call, you listen to your telephone. Do not listen to your television. It will simply confuse you. So just listen to your telephone. We'll talk via the telephone and let the TV do its thing. So 228-5562 or 228-5563. What is Crispy's Instagram handle? Good morning to you. Hello.
Oh, I think I got the wrong answer. Christy,
But don't start, don't rush. Take your time. We got time. So, where are you watching us from?
No, I just turned on.
Where are you watching us from?
Oh, Christchurch. Sorry.
See how easy that was? Just listen. So, you're watching us from Christchurch, and you think you have the wrong answer. What do you think is wrong with your answer?
Because I was thinking it might be chicken.
You think that's the IG handle? Chicken is the IG handle? Is that what you're thinking? Is she there? I think she's gone mute on me. But if it is your answer chicken, it is not right. 228-5562 or 228-5563. Good morning to you. Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning. What parish are you watching us from?
St. Peter.
All right, St. Peter. And what's your answer for me?
Crispy fried chicken BDS.
Crispy fried chicken BDS. You're certain about that?
Yes, please.
You have your phone in front of you?
I'm on it.
I don't. Oh, you're on your cell phone?
Yes, please.
So okay, so you follow. Do you follow them on Instagram at that particular handle
Yes,
you
I
gave
do.
to me?
Yes, please.
Oh, and you think you're right?
Yes, please.
I think you're right too. You're absolutely right. It is indeed Crispy Fried Chicken BDS. That's where you can find them on Instagram. Miss St. Peter, you stay on the line. We'll take some other details from you because you're today's winner of something delicious and delightful from Crispy's Fried Chicken through Crumbs Bakery. Of course, with all of it, you will find it's absolutely delicious right down to the very last crumb. So congratulations. It is right there on your screen, Crispy Fried Chicken BDS on Instagram. A break, and when we're back, we'll have more on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We're 14 minutes after the hour of 7 o'clock now. We're joined by our obstetrician, gynecologist, and Dr. John Barker. And we're looking today at fibroids. Good morning to you, Dr. John.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
It's been a little while since we saw each other, but I want to hear from you today. And I want you to define for me, what are fibroids and what cause them?
Fibroids are essentially tumors which are found in the uterus, and essentially they develop from these muscle cells in the uterus, and they're more common in African women or Black people, and usually would present in about 75 of them. They can be asymptomatic, meaning that they don't produce any symptoms, or for the majority of patients, they will be symptomatic.
Why are they more prevalent in African people?
More than likely genetic, but is a high genetic proportion.
That's because of the full. I knew it's genetics, but I just trying to figure out, is it what impacts all of this that a certain person will actually present with fibroids? Is it the food we eat, the water we drink, the lack of sunshine? Simply genetics?
That unfortunately is not known to an exact science. So from the studies, is more than likely genetic. In terms of diet and exercise, that can play a part, but there are no clear association between diet and fibroids. In terms of the healthy lifestyle, applicate that as well, but diet would not actually curtail most of the symptoms of fibroids.
So let's talk about those symptoms then. How does a woman begin to experience the discomfort from fibroids?
Right. Usually the main presentation is heavy menstrual bleeding. And usually this would be an increase in the monthly menses. Sometimes it can get constant bleeding as well too. Sometimes you can get pressure symptoms, like if it's pressing on your bladder, you can get urinary frequency. Sometimes they can cause some obstruction of the size of the tubes that drain the bladder, which are called the ureters. And what they do is cause it to swell a bit. So that's why if that's happening, then we would advocate removal of them so as to free up this blockage.
That's if those are symptoms, but when it's asymptomatic, how would she know?
She would only know incidentally, like if she goes to her doctor, or like if she has a ultrasound scan for something else, and then we realize that she has fibroids.
Is there any physical change? Sorry, is there any physical change to the woman's body that would suggest that she might be checked for fibroids?
Usually, you would see an increase in the abdominal girth, or like when the lady is touching her tummy, sometimes you can feel a hard mass in the tummy, and that can vary from just above the pubic bone, which is just below the bikini line, or sometimes the fibroids can be as high as the actual stomach. You can actually feel the mass there.
Can you just put that on to get him fat?
No. Some people might think that, but no.
Because when you to an open eye, you look and you think, oh, she's just putting on some weight. Maybe that's all that it is. And then you question yourself at a particular age, and you're thinking, but hold on, this distended stomach at your age, and you question what's going on here. So does it present particularly at a particular age, or are younger girls also presenting with fibroids?
Fibroids can present at any age, so usually it's like in your 20s, 30s, 40s. So this is when women usually present with fibroids.
So then, what do they do about it?
Right. So when a lady goes to her doctor, either GP or gynecologist, we do an ultrasound scan, and if we see fibroids, it all depends on how big they are and where they are. So when the pictures come out, you'll see. So they are either located on the surface of the actual uterus itself, which should be serosal. So in the bottom left picture, you can see the glistening white things. Those are the fibroids. So those are on the surface. The other big one that looks like a pumpkin, that is a pedunculated fibroid. So it has what you see as a stalk. So those would be on the surface. The next picture will show you some fibroids in the actual muscle. So these you wouldn't see, but the image on your right, which is the smooth thing, that's your uterus, and the small structure on your left is the ovary. But the fibroid is actually in the muscle there, and it's a very big fibroid. That one was about 7 to 8 centimeters, which was removed laparoscopically. And in the third picture, which will come up, you will see a fibroid in the uterine cavity, which on the lining of the womb. So these will present with intermenstrual bleeding, which is bleeding in between the periods, or they can present with heavy menstrual bleeding. So there are different types of fibroids and they require different techniques. So once in terms of conservative treatment for fibroids, because I wouldn't go into hysterectomy, so there's laparoscopic, which is essentially keyhole surgery, and there's laparoscopic assisted myomectomy. This is a hybrid technique of both laparoscopic and open, and this technique is to treat very big fibroids up to your belly button or higher. And essentially, the fibroids are then removed via a 2-3 centimeter incision on the bikini line. The more classic approach is open, which is what everybody knows. You get like a cesarean section scar, and then we remove the individual fibroids. The hysteroscopic one is essentially putting a camera in the womb, and that would be only to treat the fibroids inside the actual uterine cavity. And this is mainly by a technique called transcervical resection of a fibroid or morcellation. And the last conservative technique would be uterine artery embolization. And this is usually done by interventional radiologists, whereby they enter through the vessels in the groin. And what they do is essentially to block off the arteries to the actual fibroids themselves. So in this picture, what it shows is removal of some big fibroids. These are serosal fibroids and pedunculated fibroids at the level of the uterus. And the picture in the right shows removal of the fibroid using something called a harmonic scalpel, which uses ultrasound waves to actually cut the tissue. And it is found to have, once you do a keyhole or the laparoscopic assisted route, there's less blood loss, less analgesia post-op, and the patients recover much quicker than the open route. And this is the common abdominal myomectomy. As you see, the fibroids on the left, these are mainly in the muscle and serosal, and the picture on the right shows how big they were. Those were average about 4 to 7 centimeters. And this is the hysteroscopic, whereby you put the camera inside the womb. So this was a pretty big fibroid, about 4 to 5 centimeters. And essentially what we do is to reset or chip away at the actual fibroid to when we get to the base of the fibroid. And the resulting effect is an empty uterine cavity with the fibroid removed. And the last one would be the uterine artery embolization, which is done by the interventional radiologist. Usually what happens is that the patient gets it during the day and then they do an overnight stay. And the long-term effect is that the fibroids will shrink by up to 50% or more.
The potential for regrowth, what is that?
Right. Essentially, when we counsel patients, we remove the fibroids that we see. Sometimes there are fibroids that haven't been, they're not there. So sometimes you can get fibroids being formed after the initial procedure. So we usually would counsel patients and tell them, well, we remove all the fibroids. However, excuse me, there is a chance that the fibroids can come back. But depending on when the patient has the initial surgery, the average age of menopause is around 51. So even if you have a myomectomy in your 30s or early 40s, there is a small likelihood that they can come back. However, if they do, because of the menopause which will be coming up, the patients may either opt not to do anything or definitively for a hysterectomy. But we have to tell them, well, there is a possibility that they can come back.
Whew. I think this brings a lot of comfort to a lot of people this morning, though, knowing what is and how they can have treatment for it. So, Dr. John, I want to thank you so much. We're out of time, but I want to encourage ladies to consult your OB/GYN, your obstetrician and your gynecologist to know more about the treatments and the procedures that you can use to bring relief from fibroids. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Morning Barbados continues after this as we take a look into Haiti and get it from someone who knows Haiti well. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Minds. And just last weekend we heard of the earthquake there in Haiti, and immediately someone sprung to my mind. Her name is the Reverend Philonie Sanon. She's with the Methodist Church. Good morning to you, Rev.
Good morning to you, brother person. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm coping. I am coping.
I can well
By
imagine,
the
because
grace of God.
now you know what's happened in your homeland of Haiti. And what do you know from your family about what's happening to them in Haiti?
Well, in my conversation with them, I know that they are deeply affected, emotionally speaking. But thank God, they had their life. They're still alive. Their homes are standing. So we thank God for that. But it is really, really a tragedy for them.
What do you know about the tragedy, W? I mean, we've heard the numbers of people who died, some of those who are still in hospital, and just the widespread devastation. What do you know and hear coming from them about what they're experiencing?
It's that every day they are discovering new people who are not only dead people, but people who are coming out from under those buildings alive. Up to yesterday, 16 of them were brought out alive. Right? So every day, so you are walking near to building, you don't know who are under them.
Thank God for that. But then when we think about it, everybody keeps saying, but what's happening to Haiti? Why is Haiti constantly being impacted in this kind of way? Have you asked yourself that question? And if so, what kinds of answers have you found?
I do, continually. We do, but what gives me comfort is the fact that I know what happened to the children of Israel. After being in slavery and misery for over 400 years in Egypt, and God brought them out. And so I believe that the misery, the difficulty that the nation is experiencing right now will come to an end. Will come to an end. And that God does not forget about us. We just need to keep looking to Him, to keep trusting Him, relying on Him every day, just as He commanded the Israelites.
You're so right on that Bible reference. When you look at these images that we're looking at the screen right now, and we're seeing mothers with babes in arms just looking desolate, really despaired by what's happening, what does it do to you to see this of your homeland?
Devastates me. It really was my heart to bleed. It's not easy to explain, but it is a devastation.
Yeah, I can well imagine. And it feels as if it's thing after thing after thing. We had the assassination, then this earthquake, then the hurricane, the storm that passed through just yesterday. So much happening to so many different people. And I know the church itself reaches out to assist as well. So what do you know about how we in Barbados can assist those of our brothers and sisters in Haiti?
Well, up to communication with the bishop, Bishop Derek Richard, And he assured me that the church, the Methodist Church in the Caribbean and the Americas, as well as the Methodist Church in Barbados, they are mobilizing to respond in a proper way to this crisis in Haiti, as they always do.
Yes.
Right? So he told me that that is coming. So if anybody would want to, assist in any way via the church, it is easy to reach out to our district office, and then the account number will be given, and people will be able to assist us.
What do you think it is about Haiti that we who don't live in Haiti don't quite get about Haiti? Because we have our view based upon the global news we hear about Haiti, but that's an impression. What is it that we don't quite understand about Haiti?
I think people who live outside of Haiti, they don't get to understand how rich the country is, how beautiful the country is, because they only see the poorest side of it, the dirty side of it. A lot of people don't know if Haiti is really a pearl. We used to, like when we used to study in the Haitian history at school, we know about Haiti, la perle des Antilles. So if you know Haiti, you know that it is still, despite of all the difficulties that the country is, experiencing, we are still the pearl. But you have to dig deeper to find it and to experience it. You have to visit and allow somebody who knows the country to take you on a trip and realize that it is really a pearl. Yeah, it is.
And as with a pearl, you have to go into the clam and dig for that pearl. And when you find that jewel, you know you found something really, really precious. In relation to where you grew up in Haiti and where people are suffering at the moment as a consequence of the earthquake in Haiti, were you close to where you're seeing the devastation?
Yeah, I was very close, very close. It was yesterday. I was talking to somebody, or the day before. I said if I was able, I would fly directly to Haiti. Just bring. For me personally, I wouldn't bring money to the people. I would just bring what they need. Right. Right now, they really need medical aid. They need housing. They need like shelter. Even if you bring a tent to somebody, you bring some clothing. You bring some medical things that will assist them. It will be more than helpful. For me, I just want to be there.
I hear
to be there, to just fly there directly.
I hear it, flying into the midst of it all because it's home, naturally. It's just where your people are. And, we want to put our arms around you to comfort you at this time, because it's difficult to be a Haitian here and your family's miles away and you just can't get to them as easy as you'd wish. So I can imagine how tough that has to be for you emotionally and mentally and spiritually as well. But I know your spirit is strong because you have faith in God. You know God will take this through as well as he did for the Israelites. So Rev, for anyone watching now, again, remind us how they can give through the Methodist Church.
They can easily reach out to our circuit office that is in James Street. I do not have the account number with me right now, but our contact number is 436-6859 or 58. So 558 59 or 60, sorry.
Yes.
So they can reach out to us and indicate that you would like to assist, and then the account number will be given to you.
Well, our prayers are always with you and your family as well, I know, and you have our full support as well. Reverend, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We wish your family only the very best.
Thank you so much. It was a blessing.
You're welcome. The Reverend Philonie Sanon of the Methodist Church here. She is pastoring particularly at the Hawthorne Memorial Methodist, but she's at the moment just acting as superintendent for the James Street Spicedown Circuit. And we're coming back with more right here on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It is Wednesday morning, so you see the smile on my face. That's because it's time for us to open up another key. 12 keys towards a strong finish with my boy, Bishop Marlon Husbands. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Pearson. How are you?
I'm doing well today. I'm doing really well today.
I
There's so many...
I'm just here dropping some notes so I wouldn't forget some things I want to say.
That's all right. I will help you remember. There's so many things that we have done this morning so far that link so perfectly with what we've been discussing through this book, the 12 Steps to a Strong Finish. So many things.
I tell you, especially that Haiti story.
Yes.
I was just reviewing it. But then we have a caption of passion coming out of the last town hall meeting.
You got that right. Lots of passion. And then we met a young lady this morning who's passionate about youth work and the work that she's doing. So passion, and the teachers who are passionate about what they do. So passion is really one of the themes right through. But when I thought of Haiti, I thought of, the destruction of the gates and what Nehemiah would have gone through and the need to rebuild those gates and finding the passion within to be able to do that and achieve that task at hand. So naturally it walks us right into key number 8.
Walk right into key number 8.
Yeah. And key number 8 says, passion makes a difference. I know on the surface a lot of people say, oh yeah, you're right. But when you dig deeper inside, you recognize that it takes a little work. And let's talk a little bit about that, because passion is vital, as you say here, for driving change and finishing strong after the long haul. With passion comes a desire to drive change over gain or money. Passion is such a powerful ally to strong finishes that it accomplishes 3 things. And then you listed those 3 things. Let's talk about those.
The first thing we want to talk about is change.
Yes.
And change comes on the backdrop of some of the things I cited: boredom. Sometimes you need change from boredom. You need change from barrenness. You need change from bondage. You need change from the monotonies of life. You need change from despair. And I heard you mention despair that the people may be feeling in Haiti. And so when we talk about passion, these are the things that passion would seek to champion. And there, all of us, Pearson, experience things and conditions that we need to find to see change in.
We see
so passion is a way out.
Yeah, we see something and we want to do something about it. And so we're driven by that passion. That's the whole point. But we must see the end. We have to be clear on what it is that we're trying to achieve. As Nehemiah would have been, he recognized the value of having those gates rebuilt. And so he knew the end result. And he set about to achieve that end result and let nothing deter him from achieving that.
Yeah, one of the things that we must also consider, and this is the beauty about it, and I am sorry I didn't think of this before I actually wrote the book, and that's the fact that everybody has passion.
Yes.
Everybody has the capacity for passion.
True.
And so it is nothing we have to search for, but it's something we have to understand in order to pursue our dreams, our successes, and the victories we want in life over our challenges.
So we got to recognize we have the passion. We have the energy. I mean, whether it's a passion for food, a passion for party, the passion for something, we have passion. It's that energy that drives us forward. And part A, you says here, is passion helps us to focus on the big picture. We get the big picture. And so we're now able to rev up, so to speak, so that we're able to get going, to affect the change to that big picture.
Yeah, but because if we don't understand the whole, if we don't look at it from how my life fits into being in the world, then it is going to skew somewhat the nature of passion. And so when you think about passion, you must also fit it into purpose, because purpose addresses why a thing exists. So anytime you're big picture, you have to embrace purpose. And Nehemiah understood the concept of passion, and he understood what I call as his why, because passion speaks to the why. So in a real sense, purpose speaks to the why. So in a real sense, if we're going to occupy a life filled with passion, then we must understand our why.
And in
So my
understanding
challenge
that
to our
why,
viewers,
go ahead.
yes. So my challenge to our viewers is understand your why. Understand why you are here. Understand why you exist. And if you can only get that, then you're going to begin to build your life. Remember, we say it focuses on the big picture. The big picture is, why did God place me in the world?
Wow. Boy, you caused me pause. You made me stop for a minute. You want to continue? Because I'm thinking, why did God place me on the earth at this time to engage with these people? And that's the whole point. But then you also need some motivation, because it drives motivation. You need others around you. We talked about this last time as well. But to have others around who buy in to what you're doing as well. And they may not necessarily see all that you see, but with their help and their motivation, you're able to continue forward.
Yeah, and one of the things I point out in the manuscript is that motivation does not need any special skill.
Yeah.
You know, we kind of look at life so myopically that we always think that skill means skill is going to open doors, da 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 da. It isn't only those things, because regardless of your skill, your particular skill or talents, if you have passion will motivate you and create open doors for you, Pearson.
You're quite right, you know. I've had a passion for broadcasting.
That's the power of what we're dealing with.
I've never had formal training in this, but my passion for it, led me to where I sit today. And you're quite right. You must have that passion to continue, because it propels you forward as well. But in all the catalysts for success...
Before you go there, I also want to point out what I said about Einstein, Albert Einstein, in the quote. He said, and I quote, "I have no special talents."
Yes.
This is Albert Einstein. "I have no special talents. But here, I am only passionately curious." End of quote.
End of story. Right
End of story.
Be passionately curious about something, and you're going to achieve it. You want to know more.
And you're going to achieve it.
Yeah, you want to know more. Then part C, you say here, passion serves as a catalyst for success. And I'm going through, folks, because you're going to read this yourself. You're not going to go through every little detail. You've got to read this yourself and absorb. Equally, you must let your passion act as a thrust that propels you onward, even after you've been bombarded with setbacks and challenges. And that's the whole point, because life throws at you some situations from time to time. Nehemiah had it as well, those temptations by others to give up the task at hand. And he says, no, I'm not doing that, because I have a purpose. I have a reason for existing.
Correct. And I skewed it a different way, as I have in the book. I said, look, adversities are the credentials for success. When I look at Nehemiah's context, when I look at what he was faced with, what he went through, I had to conclude that adversity are the credentials for success. So don't run from your adversity. Don't run from your adversity. And I'm speaking to somebody here who is listening to us this morning. Do not run from your adversity. Wow. Neither do you create enemies out of your adversity. But what you do is allow your adversity to pave the way for success. You
said that. You talked about some don'ts. Don't give up. Don't give up. That's in the face of your adversity. Don't give up. See it as an opportunity to do better. Do not dare give up. You said also, don't settle. And when you say that, what do you mean?
Settling carries with it the what I call the acceptance of defeat. So that's why I said don't settle, because settling carries with it an acceptance of defeat. Okay, I might have experienced a setback, but I still have life, I still have energy, I still have friends, I still have favor around me, I still have contacts. There are other ways in which you can triumph. So anytime you settle, you are settling, you are accepting the defeat even before you even push any further.
Wow. Folks, you hear that this morning? Don't settle. I love your explanation of the whole thing. It really is so important to moving forward. And then don't compromise. Sometimes we think, oh, in the interest of compromise, we will this or we will that. Nehemiah's example shows us that when you compromise, you are going to miss out on achieving your goal. But You cannot compromise when you know your purpose and you know your reason, you have your passion for achieving.
And I have here compromise is hazardous.
It is.
You know, there are some possible elements. There are some plausible elements of compromise. As a married man, as a pastor, as a leader, there are elements of compromise. There are times when you need to compromise.
Yes.
But there are other times that compromise becomes hazardous.
Yes.
It is hazardous to your calling. It is hazardous to your purpose. It is hazardous to what you're called to do. So it can be hazardous. So there's that thin line between knowing when to compromise and knowing when not to compromise.
Because
So when I spoke about don't compromise, I'm talking about in the face of setbacks, in the face of pretense, in the face of well wishes, don't compromise, because every well wish is not a wish you well.
That is it. That's the key point I wanted to hear you say. Not every well wish is a well wish, so to speak. And most of all, don't stop learning. Just don't stop learning. Nehemiah never did. You know, being a person of royal association, it reads, was an ever-increasing learning curve. One of the benefits of learning is that it enhances your self-worth. This was an obvious plus for Nehemiah as he boldly and confidently confronted his opposition. The day you stop learning is the day you impede your opportunities for strong finishes.
Correct. And there are two things that I cite here: confidence, self-worth. And you notice I don't use self-esteem, I use self-worth. Because if you are going to finish through a challenge, then you must have a sense of worth, the way you feel about yourself. And the way you feel about yourself then becomes a catalyst for your confidence to go forward.
Right.
So there's that very sweet and beautiful blend of self-worth. I know who I am. I know whose I am. I know why I exist. Now I can be confident in going forward. And the thing about confidence is that even if you are denied, you will not settle. You will still keep pressing because you believe in what you're doing.
And don't keep your passion a secret. Don't keep it a secret. Share it. Let others buy into your passion. Together as a community, you achieve more than when you try to do it on your own. And that's the whole point to all of this. Let your passion also drive you to engage others, to have their buy-in to help you achieve too.
Correct. And the thing is, I coined no expressed passion, no demonstrated power to finish.
Yes.
It says your calling and your challenge is a position, is an opportunity to be passionate. It's an opportunity to build confidence. It's an opportunity to believe and know who you are, to test the metal for which you're made. So therefore, I am not going to keep my passion a secret, because it's going to show you the metal that I'm made with. And that's the concept.
And that's the concept. Folks, this is only key number 8 here. This is key number 8. And if you've missed any, that's not a problem. You can get the book and you can go right through from beginning to catch up with us. And I caution people, take your time. Take your time. These are life lessons. These are keys towards a strong finish with Marlon Husbands. Life lessons for facing your everyday challenges, and every day each of us has a challenge to face, or challenges to face. And this book guides you, literally guides you through the experience of Nehemiah towards that strong finish. Have the passion to succeed, have the passion to achieve, and you will see the outcome that you're looking for. We got to leave it right there. Ending key number 8. Thank you so much, Marlon. Again, for those who want to have a copy of the book, and there are some available, you need today to call 232 3961, 232-3961, or call the church office on 431-0016 and get your own autographed copy by Marlon himself. He'll deliver it to you and make sure you get a copy of it indeed. Marlon, thanks.
Thank you, Pearson. Really, really good being here again this morning.
As always. Next week, Should God Spare Life, we're looking at key number 9. We're getting towards the end, folks, but we are building as we go. Thank you, my brother.
Blessings.
Likewise. Morning Barbados will continue right after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We're approaching 8 minutes to go to the hour of 8 o'clock, and we're having some life-changing experiences here this morning. So right now we're going to meet a man who's written a book called 7 Steps to Becoming an Effective Christian. His name is Ronson Small. Good morning to you, Ronson.
Hey, good morning, Pearson. Blessings on you.
Blessings on you as well. Your book is called 7 Steps to Becoming an Effective Christian. My first question is your definition of an effective Christian.
My definition of an effective Christian is someone, who can exemplify the characteristics and the traits of Jesus Christ. It goes beyond just coming to church and, giving your offering, prayer, and your name is on the roll, do the right hand of the fellowship, but in all areas of your life, you know how to have a well-balanced, effective life.
An effective life and be an effective Christian in service of Christ, for sure, to live and lead by example of how Christ lived and how the effects it can have on others as well. So in this book, you're saying there are 7 steps to becoming that effective Christian, with contributions by your dear wife, Lakeisha. So list those steps for me and let's walk through those steps to becoming that effective Christian.
No problem. So the 7 steps is a particular scripture that I used, I would have come across while I was studying the scriptures. And the steps are truth, knowledge, self-control, perseverance, godliness, brotherly affection, and love.
And you would have met those by what you're reading, by looking at your own, examining your own life, other Christians' lives. What is it that led you to determine that those are the areas that we need to, those steps that we need to take to become an effective Christian?
It's only in 2 chapter 1, verses 5 through 7, speaks about adding to your faith. So each and every believer, from the time they come to Christ, they have faith. The Bible says no faith is the substance of things hoped for. So many times people accredit faith to what happened 10 years ago and 15 years ago. But when they read no faith, that means the faith for today is for today. And then when we get to tomorrow, the faith for tomorrow is for tomorrow. So each and every believer has to add these 7 steps to their life to continue to be effective. There are other areas, but I really wanted to isolate these 7 areas so that the believer can have a balanced Christian life.
But it's a journey, you don't suddenly achieve effectiveness and then you stop. That's the end of it. It's a practical experience.
Yes, sir. It's a practical experience. Every day, the Bible says you have to work out your salvation with fear and trembling. So every single day, you have to get up and you have to make it in your mind and be intentional. One thing I always tell people is that they have to be intentional. The same way that you make time to make time to eat, you have to make time to read the word, and make time to spend with your family.
Is it me? I can't hear at the moment, Ronson, but I know we're going to try to work that audio issue out. But there are 7 steps, as Ronson says, to being an effective. Let's see if we can hear, checking 1, 2, 3, mic. 7 steps to being an effective Christian. And in it, most of all, you must be intentional. Ronson and his wife would have sat down and have decided these are the ones that they're going to identify. And with her, they've come up with this book called 7 Steps to Being an Effective Christian, which shows how it's possible to live an effective Christian life regardless of race, class, denomination, creed, or any other background factors. Those are some of the areas that they're going to be focusing on. And the book shows the reader, they say that titles do not make an effective disciple of Christ. The evidence of fruit does. So by the way you do what you do, how you live out the fruits of the Spirit, you can tell whether or not it's an effective Christian. So Ronson, let's see if you're back with us. We just have 4 minutes remaining. Ronson? Check 1, 2. Are you there? Ronson, can you hear me? All right. I'm not hearing you. I can see your lips moving, but I'm not hearing you as well. But Ronson and his wife, they've broken this down, they said, into 7 steps of Christian living. In the simplest terms, the book will detail it for you so that you understand how you can live it out. They say that God is looking for people who will make themselves available. And if you want to make yourself available, then I suppose this book is one way to guide you towards becoming an effective Christian. As they say, they've detailed those 7 steps based upon the biblical experiences and their real life experiences as well, to be able to achieve this manual, so that you can, as you walk day by day among the people with whom you share life, that you can actually begin to be an effective Christian. Now, who are they? They're the pastors of the Welchman Hall New Testament Church of God, and they believe marriage is their first ministry, and in following the call God has placed on their lives, they do everything together. So together they've put together this book, 7 Steps to Being an Effective Christian. Ronson is young, so to his wife, and so they have put this together. They asked the question, are you ready to walk in spiritual maturity? Let's see if we get Ronson one more time very quickly. Ronson?
Yes, sir, I can't hear you.
We have just 2 minutes left, Ronson. So in those 2 minutes, just tell us where we can find the book, 7 Steps to Being an Effective Christian.
You can find the book, 7 Steps to Being an Effective Christian, on Amazon.com. And do you have the Kindle version there for $9 US? And then you have it $7.50 US, which is 35 Barbados. Also having our launch on Sunday, the 29th, 5 p.m. at Hashtag Bar. We are grateful for the opportunity. This is the flyer, and we really appreciate this opportunity.
So you're having this launch, and for the launch, you need to register. On the 29th of August, you're having the launch at Hashtag Bar at Balmoral Gap in Hastings. And you're beginning at 5 in the afternoon. Please. You and your wife will be there. But we need to register by WhatsApping Lakeisha at 236 8409. 236 8409. COVID-19 protocols will be observed. The cocktails are from 5 to 6, and then you get into the full book launch of the 7 Steps to Being an Effective Christian at Hashtag Bar at Balmoral Gap in Hastings. And we're encouraging all of you to go online to either get your online version on Kindle on Amazon, or you can get your paperback available when you go to that book launch as well to have it autographed. Ronson, thank you so very much. I could only wish you and your wife every success. I hope people really buy the book and they'll learn more about those 7 steps on how to become a more effective Christian. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Much appreciated.
And likewise. And that's it for today, everyone. Thank you so much for staying with us. We hope you have a great today. With it be God's will, we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Until then, good morning and bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning.